Happy St. Patrick's Day. It's Down Home with Tina. I'm your host, Tina Thompson. As you can see, I'm all decked out in my St. Patty's Day attire, and it is because it's a really big day for a very special person in my life. She is one of a few people that I just don't know what I would have been like without having her. She's my cousin. She is 1 year older than I am, and she is the big 5-0 this year, and I didn't ask for permission, so I hope that Tammy Lavender is okay with me announcing that on this show. I guess she just doesn't have a choice. I love her dearly from the bottom of my heart. You know how it is when you have a cousin that you just connect with. She's that cousin that, see, I'm one of 5 girls, and all of our names start with T. Well, Tammy, of course, she being a year older, we always just said she's just one of us, so it went down the line. And Tammy was somebody who I always looked up to. She actually is also the one that when I refer to as a battle buddy in the Army Reserves, she was the one that led the way with that. And she is such a spiritual, God-fearing woman that anytime I have anything I need to talk about, I call upon her, and she is an amazing mom. And I'm sure she's an amazing wife as well, daughter and sister to her siblings. But that's why I also have my little happy birthday. I wore my this little top hat today, so I didn't have place to put on my happy birthday, but I just wanted to give a shout out to her and thank her for always being there when I just need that listening ear and to hear that spiritual message of the Bible, because I'll just be like, I need a spiritual uplift, and she'll go, bam, here you go. So thank you so much, Tammy. I got a picture to show that she is I wanted my bagpiper to make it. He was unable to play happy birthday for you, Tammy. Now I'm going to just talk to you. And we didn't have that, but we do have a special happy birthday song. So here's to you and the next year of Big 5-0. It's Down Home with Tina.
Dagger Law has been part of the Lancaster community for more than 110 years. This is where we live and work. You'll see us at festivals, sporting events, and all around town. We consider our clients as friends, and we walk alongside you through challenging times. Whether you're a growing business, a changing family, facing litigation, planning your future, or dealing with land issues, we're right here. We are local. We are trusted. We are experienced. Dagger Law.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our 2 locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I'm really excited this segment. I've never had someone like Aimee Marshall on with me before and the career and job that she does. She is with the Lancaster Police Department. She is a 911 communications technician, and I could not even imagine what it is like. And I have to say, it was one of those things when I reached out to Chief Pilar that I said, hey, I need a first responder of the month. And he mentioned Aimee. And I didn't tell you this, Aimee. You probably already knew this story. But I was like, they are first responders, but I didn't know how society, and then Chief Pilar was like, they're the first ones. And I was like, but he was so kind about it. And then I was like, oh, I think I offended him. And as a matter of fact, it was here that I was sitting here, and I was talking about it, and I was like, Josh, oh my gosh. And I was texting back and forth. And Josh, he's my camera guy, and he produces the Down Home with Tina show, folks, for those of you who don't know who Josh is. So yeah, sometimes it's kind of like that. Anyways, and you guys are the first voice that somebody that is in a crisis hears when they pick up their phone and they call 911. And I've got goosebumps because what a great and amazing job you do to be one of our heroes like that. Why did you decide that that was something that you wanted to do?
So I was 19 and I had switched my major at college a couple times. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I was like, okay, college is not for me. Like, I'm terrible. I don't want to do the work. And I was working part-time at McDonald's. You can't do that for a living. I mean, you can, but
yeah. You didn't want to.
Yeah. So my dad had been a police officer growing up, and he had found out the sheriff's office was hiring. So I said, well, okay, well, I'm going to go apply at the sheriff's office. And it was over in Perry County. So I ended up getting hired there as part-time. And then eventually I got full-time. And it's a very odd thing, but if you're good at it, like, it's a very, I guess, fulfilling thing. It's very fun. You never know what's going to happen. It's always different.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. What has it been, or how many years, first of all, have you been?
Oh my gosh, so I started in 99, and so 2 years that I was off. So what is that, 21, 22, 20. I've done it for 20 years.
For 20 years.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And you're going to just keep on doing it, right? Because it's obvious that you love it and you like it because you keep doing it.
Yeah.
Did you start out, what shift did you start out on? Was it day shift? Where do they put you when you first get hired on?
Afternoon shift.
Afternoon shift.
Yes. And most, like, training we do now is a lot better, I think, but over in Perry County, like, you were trained on the job. Like, you just start answering the phone and you just start doing it. So it's a little overwhelming.
I was going to say, now, because do they try to help you to know what to expect, or no? You just are right out there on the front line.
You'd observe for a couple weeks and you'd see what they're doing and you'd listen to their calls. And then after that, it's like, okay, well, now you're going to handle one. Oh, okay.
Alrighty, I think I might be ready for this, but ready or not, here I come.
Yeah.
Right?
So one of my funniest stories is, like, the very first time I worked by myself at the sheriff's office
In Perry County.
Yes. I get a phone call on 911 and the guy goes, my friend was just shot. And I was like, this is not happening because I am here by myself. I said, with a gun?
Oh,
and that caller was very unimpressed with me, I can tell you that.
But really, honestly, I mean, it would be something like that you really wouldn't expect so from that very point on, what was it like? Were you just kind of like, you know what, I have no idea what's going to happen or what's going to be said, but it's just going to get through, but you wouldn't going to ask that again, right?
Right. I was like, oh my gosh, get it together. You're the professional here.
He's calling you because it's an emergency on his behalf, not yours, right? But how did you get to that point where you knew that you mentally had to be prepared for what they were going to say and what we're going to do? Did that come in time?
Yeah, like, for the first year, you definitely feel like you have no idea what you're doing, and it's all...
Oh, wow.
So it takes a couple years for you to feel super comfortable, and then you just remind yourself they call in, and if it's something major, you have to take a deep breath, because if you're rattled, then when you mark your officers, then you're going to rattle them. Like, you're supposed to keep everybody calm.
How do you do that? Because now that you're in Lancaster, how many calls do you typically get a day? 911 calls?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea.
A lot? Is it constant on a shift? And are your shifts like 8-hour shifts?
Yes.
Is that what they're? Okay.
It's not constant, but, like, if there's an accident, you will get many calls for this one accident. So it really depends.
Okay.
And it's funny because a lot of times, like, especially around the 4th of July, you'll get a lot of gunshot calls because it's usually fireworks. But you don't get any calls when it's actual gunshots.
Weird.
Because they don't sound real. It's backwards.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder how, it just makes me wonder what it really sounds like when you hear I guess I've lived in the country, so you hear one, but.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many did you get after the 4th of July past year? Because I'm telling you, I think people are still doing fireworks 2 or 3 weeks out.
Yeah, they were.
So that's why I'm like, seriously.
Way into August, still setting them off. I'm like, you people have to be out by now.
My dog was like scared about every time for weeks because every time we go out, she would be freaking out because it would be somebody doing fireworks.
Yeah.
That's why I remembered, and I'm just like, oh, my poor little baby, it's okay. And here you are getting calls that
Yes.
people are shooting something or somewhere somehow. What do you recommend for people that do that? Do you still recommend them call you guys, or just kind of take a minute to think, or to do it?
Yeah, I mean, if you think it's gunshots, we definitely want you to call just
yeah.
in case.
Yeah. And I know you can't really talk about any of the major things that you've had that have come through, but what's it feel like, I guess, if you don't mind me asking, when you get a child on the phone? I mean, how do you respond to that? Do you have to also tell yourself, take a deep breath? Do you have to speak to them in a different way to keep them? Or do you sometimes talk to children and they're more adult-like than some of the adults that call? You know what I mean?
I feel like
honestly,
we don't get too many children that call. I mean, most of the time they're playing with like a shut-off cell phone and they're calling 911. I'm trying to think if I've had a child that called and was needing like help. And I can't think of one.
That's so many, yeah.
Because it's like, I think it's more rare.
Yes. Well, good.
Yeah.
Hopefully that does not happen. Have you had a highlight of your career, Aimee, so far in the 21 years?
I got a life-saving award was it last year or the year before?
You did. Are you able to talk about that one? Because
Yeah,
I didn't
it was,
know if that one was announced then.
A fire, and it was on the west side of town, and I can't remember exactly if it was on Goodwin or where it was, and she called in and her house was on fire, and so I was just trying to get her to go through the whole, you gotta shut your door and shove stuff under the door so the smoke can't get in, and then she's telling me where she's at in the house so that as soon as they got there they could pull her out a window, and they gave me the award, and I was like, well, I was just doing what I'm supposed to do, so
yeah. Well, how do you determine if it's going to be the fire department? I know in a fire, of course, it's going to be the fire department, but how do you know when it's going to be the Lancaster police that you call, or is it going to be the fire department when you're dispatching on a scene?
Most of our call, like, you have set calls that require set equipment sent. So like if somebody calls in a drug overdose, for example, you automatically send like the medic, an engine, the fire captain, and then you send 2 officers with them.
Okay.
So it's nice because, not every call is the same, but a lot of them are very similar, so you always know what you're sending. Also,
some folks don't realize, and I know we've only got about a minute left, so I'm going to try to fit this in here, is that when somebody calls in for a suicide threat, where does that land in prioritizing for the police or the fire department? It's pretty, it's up
pretty
there.
High,
it's
yeah.
high, yeah.
Because you don't want to wait because you don't know.
No.
Whether it's their 50th time threatening it or their first time, you don't know what's going on in their life. So you always want to respond like they're going to do it. You want to stop them and help them. No, I just think it is just, again, such an amazing thing. Anything else that you wanted to share with folks who don't know something about you or what you do? I think we have like set questions we have to ask, and I know that sometimes when people call in, it's very frustrating because we're asking these questions and they don't think they're important, but we need them. And so if they can just, not yell at us for asking the questions,
remain as calm as possible.
Yeah. And then I promise we get help as soon as we can.
Oh, Aimee, I want to thank you for what you do, because I tell you what, I can imagine in a million years the things that, once again, that you've heard and what you go through and going home at the end of the day. I'm sure it's just kind of like, thank you for what I've got. Yeah. I can't even imagine. But you are First Responder of the Month, Aimee Marshall. She is with the City of Lancaster, but it's through the LPD.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. For the communications technician for 911, and an Ava gift card for you to maybe treat yourself. And then this is just my thank you note. But I've got to get you cookies. My cookies turned out awful this week, and I was like, I got to take them. So I'll take them to you and for anybody that's with you. So that way. And thanks for doing, once again, what you do. Thanks for being on the show, folks. You're watching Down Home with Tina, and I'll be back in just a minute.
Hi, I'm Amanda Wattenberg, Regional Director at Ohio Guidestone. Do you or does someone you know have a substance abuse disorder? Have you been thinking about getting help, but don't know where to start? It takes a lot of courage to ask for help. but it's the most important step you can take. If you think you know everything that's available in Fairfield County, think again. Like other chronic diseases, addiction can be managed successfully. Treatment enables people to counteract addiction's powerful, disruptive effects on the brain's behavior and regain control of their lives. Even if it takes multiple attempts, treatment does work and people do recover from addiction every day. So keep trying because your life matters. You matter, and we're here to help. Call 211 and ask for the treatment resources available right here in Fairfield County.
This message is brought to you by the Fairfield County Adam H. Board.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. Always excited to have Anna Tobin with me. She's the Executive Director of Meals on Wheels Older Adult Alternatives of Fairfield County. And a few weeks ago, I had people lined up and I was like, oh, it's March for Meals. And I didn't get Anna. So I'm so grateful because I did have a cancellation, which I was sad that I did, but happy at the same time. You know, it's one of those bittersweet things because I always love to have you, and this is very important. We're all aging. Today is a birthday of my cousin I had mentioned earlier, and the big 50, and so we're all getting there. So I always say, I hope that can only make it to where I am a senior.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's what you do at Meals on Wheels. You help take care of our seniors.
It's a privilege to age, that's for sure.
Yes.
And I just have to say, I was so concerned about what to wear today. But I'm glad we matched somewhat, you know, my plain color, and you're just fabulous, so this is great.
I said it, you know, because it's a big 50 birthday for somebody very special in my life, so
Yeah.
I got to go that extra mile a little bit.
So-
My bagpiper, as I told you, he wasn't able to make it this year, so.
I love
it. Thank you.
But you are so right. Meals on Wheels is that #1 source for senior services here in our county, and we provide services to over 2,500 seniors every year, and it really is that place to go for information, programs, services, education, all designed specifically for those older adults to help improve nutrition, connection, and their independence.
Anna, and last year, COVID put a big, huge whammo, bammo, whatever you want to call it, dent into what your biggest fundraiser of the year was to be all about.
You're right.
And
You know, last year, 2020, March for Meals, let's rewind, you know, a year ago, it was a week before the event when the actual stay-at-home order went into place. And so, of course, we canceled our fundraiser. And again, this year we're promoting, it is our biggest fundraiser. It's March for Meals, and it runs across the nation, actually, all throughout the month of March. And here locally, Meals on Wheels is continuing with a virtual 5K run and 1 mile walk. And we are holding a 300 club raffle to help raise funds that will stay here locally to support our Meals on Wheels program.
When you say virtually, what do you mean by that? Do you recommend folks still get out there and run, or they just can sit there and say, I ran?
Yeah.
Or is it their choice?
Well,
in this
I've had
case?
people ask me that. They're like, does this mean pretend?
Wink, wink, wink.
I said, whatever you want it to mean. And if you've been following us on Facebook, we've had so much fun. We post people marching in a marching band. We post people walking on hikes. We posted some, if you've ever seen Walk Away the Pound videos. You know, we posted all kinds of ways that you could participate, and what that looks like is entirely up to you. If you want to walk, run, if you want to go on a hike, if you want to march in place, if you want to go to the mall, it's anytime, any place throughout the month of March. But what we do ask you to do is go online to mealsonwheelsfairfieldcounty.org and register. It's a $20 registration fee. And that fee will get you a free t-shirt with our supporters on the back. We have event sponsors, if I can say.
Absolutely.
We have Lancaster Rotary, we have Fairfield Heating and Cooling, Fairfield Federal, People's Bank, Walker Shoe Center, Sitterly Law Firm, and Buckeye Honda. And our in-kind sponsor was Buffalo Wild Wings. They did a billboard out on 33 for us. So these event sponsors stepped up and said, yep, we're behind you, let's make this happen. And so they're helping us get those t-shirts out to anyone who's participating. But you can register online, you can pay online, or you can print off the entry form and send us in a check. But what's important is that $20 will stay here locally to help Meals on Wheels programming here in Fairfield County.
How are our seniors doing?
You know, it's been really rough for a lot of our seniors. They're lonely, they're isolated, they miss their families, they miss their children. many of our seniors miss coming into the site for their lunch, their daily lunch that they would come in and receive. A lot of the senior living facilities are not having their congregate dining that we're used to seeing. And so at Meals on Wheels, we've really been trying to improve our programming and make sure that we're meeting the needs of the seniors. And it's that isolation, that's not having the connection with others. So our activity coordinator, she's been doing a lot of virtual activities. We do virtual bingo. And people call in on a conference line, they play a game of bingo, and then the prize gets sent out on the meal route, or she takes it out. They do virtual crafting, lots of puzzles, lots of activities being sent home. Telephone programming, which allows us to have phone conversations with people, check-in services. So we've really been looking at ways that we can help support the seniors through this whole ordeal. And now that the vaccinations are out, I was telling you off air that we've been registering seniors because many seniors don't have computer equipment or have the savvy skills to be able to do it. I struggled a couple times trying to fill out the forms myself, but helping them get registered for vaccination, find a site that's available to them, and then providing transportation for them to get there.
I'm glad that you did just say that, though, Anna, about their, sometimes there are challenges even for yourself. You guys are such a resource for our seniors as well. If it's not a program that you may not offer to them, you can always say, hey, this is who we do recommend that you call. So you can be that hub for people to call you.
Exactly. And so when you mentioned that, we were talking about us being the #1 source for senior services here in Fairfield County. Meals on Wheels, we do nonstop, the food and nutrition. But we also help fund and support in-home care services like personal care and homemaking and respite services. And right now, we only have a homemaker program where we have our staff who go out and clean homes. But we don't provide the personal care and we don't provide the respite. So we contract with others in the community to provide that service. Adult day service, if someone has an older adult that they need some help with, we contract with the Samaritan Center that allows us to place clients at a day service. So again, like you're saying, if we're not able to offer it ourselves, we find the most economical and acceptable way to make sure that service is provided.
And with that all being said as well, you offer so many different services. Are you always looking for volunteers? And now that things are a bit different, what is it that you have as far as the expectations for volunteers?
So we are still, first of all, I have to say our community has been fabulous through this whole thing. We recruited, or not even recruited, we had droves of people calling us saying, how can I help you, throughout this whole entire pandemic. And so we continue to have people on site to pack meals. We have volunteers who have stepped up to the plate big time and taken on additional routes to make sure that the meals are delivered in a timely way. But we still are recruiting. We've adjusted how we do things, so we need additional volunteers. So we have programs that are available once a week, or we have opportunities available once a month. But what's important is that we're able to continue getting food in people's bellies and making sure that they're fed and cared for throughout the pandemic. Now, we are close to the general public, but the nutrition side of services continues to run. Our delivery team, whether it's volunteer or staff, of course, are wearing masks and doing safe delivery practices. And then our volunteers who come on site, of course, wear masks. We keep them social distanced and that kind of thing, just to make sure everybody's safe.
I know before we got on air and everything, you had mentioned something about, because I had asked, there's an increase of folks that ended up needing your services. And in some cases, I know that also some of those folks were going to those restaurants. And you said, well, you offered something different. You mentioned the frozen meals. Is that what it was?
Right. So in response to many restaurants closing down at the beginning, or seniors self-isolating, or the fact that our congregate dining sites all closed down, we offered alternative ways to get food into the people's home. And so we delivered either frozen meal packs, we offered emergency grocery services. We were also able to convert to a grab-and-go kind of model at the Meals on Wheels Center, where seniors would call in and say, I'd like a meal today, and we run it out to their car. Nobody's on roller skating it out yet.
That would have been fun. Would have been fun is if I would have wiped out or something, and I would have been laughing as high. Go ahead.
And then the restaurant sites, again, offering pickup service and that kind of thing. But it's all just, all these programs have continued to the best of our ability. throughout the pandemic to make sure our seniors are cared for.
And your contact information for folks who may find that they have a loved one in need of Meals on Wheels.
Sure, if you're looking for services, if you want to volunteer, if you want to become a participant in our March for Meals, visit us online at mealsonwheelsfairfieldcounty.org or give us a call at 740-681-5050.
And follow them on Facebook, because it sounds like y'all have a lot of fun on there.
We do.
You gotta keep the fun going,
Yeah.
no matter what age we are.
Happy St. Patty's Day. I love it. Nobody's pinching you today, are they?
They better not. They might get punched. No, I'm kidding. I would never punch anybody. Thanks, Anna, so much for being
thank
a
you.
guest with me. I'm glad you were able to make it. And folks, thank you. I will be back in just a minute with a fun story about what was going on last year about this time that had to do with toilet paper. It's Down Home with Tina.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference.
We were retiring from Tucson, Arizona, and we made a retirement trip out around Ohio, having decided that's where we wanted to be. And we came across this town called Lancaster, and we fell in love with the downtown area where the fountain is and the memorials and the flags and all this stuff. And we looked around and I said, there's our bank right there.
There's something to be said about a community bank in your hometown.
Right. If you live in the community, you should do business in the community as much as possible. So it makes sense to bank with the community bank where you live.
Fairfield Federal is the bank to be at. If you live in this town, or any town actually, you want to bank at a local home bank. And the employees are happy here, they're conversant, customer service is through the roof. There's nothing more you could ask for.
Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. And it was a year ago that we all found ourselves in the situation that was not so fun, and we had a tough time finding toilet paper. So I have a story I have been wanting to share with you ever since all of that happened. But of course, as many things, there was lockdown, so the Down Home with Tina show wasn't continuing, and time went on and it went on. But we had a scare in our home with toilet paper, as some folks even went without. So at that time, I was living in a home that had the hose spigot just underneath the bathroom window. And so me being the problem solver that I am, I said to myself, I am not going to worry about it. I'm going to figure it out. If I have to bring that hose through that window, and I mean seriously, folks, if it really came down to that, that's what would have happened. But it didn't happen, thankfully. But what did happen in our home is that my boyfriend, he says, or he brings home toilet paper. This was before the pandemic happened. And he brings home toilet paper that you can actually see through. I can see Josh's silhouette. I can kind of see the camera. All right. So I had to do that because you can really see through this toilet paper. And I don't ever say anything because I just kind of I knew he'd figure it out. So a few days later, he comes to me and he goes, I think I got the wrong toilet paper. Now, mind you, right? I said this is before the pandemic. Bam, COVID happened. Folks, we were stuck with this toilet paper. That's when we got in a panic. A panic because there really wasn't a whole lot, but we had that. I just hadn't had the opportunity or chance to go to the grocery yet, and I wish I would have. So today, I just wanted to talk a little bit about toilet paper. And when toilet paper finally became available, I was at the grocery store and I saw somebody that I know, and he and his wife were there grocery shopping, and he had no idea what was going on in my life with this toilet paper. And he knew that most people were, but he didn't realize it was the worst kind of toilet paper you could ever have in your home. And he waves me over and he says, toilet paper is going to be in here in just within the hour. And I go, you have no idea how bad I needed toilet paper. So anyways, I waited around. Toilet paper was there within 15 minutes. I went and got myself some toilet paper, folks. And now I have the good stuff and I have the backup stuff. But I'm telling you what, Guys, if you go to get toilet paper for the house, I don't even know, ask. Just be safe and ask what kind of toilet paper it is that you need to get, because you might end up in a COVID situation stuck with this kind of toilet paper in an emergency. Folks, I want to thank you so much for watching this week. I hope you have a great one. God bless. Till we meet again, and I hope it's next week. Good day.